Hello everyone, welcome. Today we are doing the aspen trees and I'm going to show you what was my inspiration. This here was my inspiration. I saw this on a photographer, Northern Ontario photographers, and I asked the photographer if I could use their photo for painting, and they gave me permission. So I want to thank that photographer very much for doing that. And so, guys, if you might say, well, trees are trees, bushes are bushes. It's a matter of respect for the artist, the photographer. So if you do want to use their photo, please ask permission and thank them. So now what I want to teach is, you see how much detail there is in the background and how many trees there are. We don't have to do all of that. If you do, what you can do is go and just take a paper like that and just go around and see what to do, because if you do the whole picture, you might be painting for the whole winter. So we want to do a quick little photo, a painting, not stressful, not worrying about all the details. So what I'm going to show you is how to break this down. So as you see in the back, there's trees there. And then there's the starting coming forward. And then there's trees here. And as we come down, it starts to get a little more detail. There's colors and that. And then we have our trees in front. So the trees in front will have a lot of details, less. So now we're going to start with the background. The background we don't have to make trees, because as soon as you make trees, then, you might lose your perspective. So let's start with the background, and we're going to move up after. So we're going to start with the top here. And the top, what I did is I mixed a batch. I'll mix again. So I'll take some, just a gold, a medium color. So I've put like lots. I want to try to make it enough for the whole painting. And again, we use our black. So we're making that army green. Oops, that might be way too much black. I went crazy with the black. So I'm going to move some of the black aside, because I think I took way too much. And I'm going to blend. And I want that navy green, because we're going to play with that that green for our trees. It's the green for our trees. It's the green that's for the grass. It's grass. It's leaves actually. So see, it's way too dark. I'm going to add more yellow, and I'll show you the final result of the kind of green I want. Then we're going to turn it into a gray. Okay, still a tad dark, but that's okay, because I do need a lot. I have a bigger canvas than my little one, and I do need a lot, so it'll prevent me from making another batch. So it's getting to where I want it. There we go. So it's that army green. Okay. So now we want a kind of a grayish color. So the only thing we need to do is take some white. So I'm going to start with my green. Take some white, and I'm mixing it with my brush. And I take some more, and then I'm going to start. So I want to go about here to here. So this, and the rest will be the foliage. So I'm just, Oh, and by the way, why this is gray, you don't have to do that. It's because I had something under it that was dark, so I just painted it a gray. It's all going to be hidden anyways. So I'm taking back some of my green with the white. And it's okay if there's streaks of white like that, because that's going to be kind of our trees, our background trees. Give it just a glimpse that there's trees there without seeing no details. We're not putting any details here. So here we go again. We keep doing that till we're at the end here. It's okay if I go down because we're gonna do the grass. So I'm reloading always back into that green. I'm gonna have to reload some white. And if I grab a bit of the black, that's okay too. It's just gonna give me kind of a shadow in the background, just like that. And this is all gonna blend together because that's the colors that our trees are. So it's gonna, the painting is just gonna be cohesive. It's all gonna go together. I'm gonna reload some white. I might do that a few times to reload. So I'm just using the dark green, a tad of black, some white to make that grayish color. Again, reload. I've got lots here. Probably enough to finish it. And do the size of your canvas if you're going to keep that canvas. Mine is I use it all the time to do the next painting, so I don't do the sides, and I wouldn't do the sides with you on the video because I find it's long. It's almost the size of half of your canvas doing the side, because my canvas is very thick, like it's a 1 inch, if not more. So it would take as much time to try to do it than painting the front. Okay, so I want to hide everything. And as you see, I'm kind of in my grayish color and just tapping it in. And it's very light now, so just without really, see there's streaks of white, which is perfect. It's just going to give us a glimpse that there's something there without being specific. That's okay, a dark is okay. Okay, so now we're going to go into our green here, and I'm going to add the yellow on the side. So what that's going to do is going to give me, actually it's going to give me some dark green, some lighter green, some the actual color here. So I'm not washing my brush. Maybe a little bit of the black to make it darker, a tad of the yellow. And here what we're going to do is tap so that you don't get an edge there, because it's bushes. It's going to make it easier for us when we do the bushes, when we tap in the bushes, because there's already that. And don't go too high, because then you're going to be up to here. So just make sure that you don't go too high. So see, now I did is I took a little bit of the black with my army green, because in the photo, this here, there's an edge there that's very dark. So I'm just trying to do that. And then we're going to start to go down. And you'll see everything just goes perfectly together once we start putting the other colors. Okay. So now I'm dipping into my army green. I'm going to dip into the yellow, and I'm going to go on like that. And I'm tapping all the time. And maybe some black, a yellow on the side. More black, because I don't want it, I don't want it to, the army green, I don't want it to be all the same. I'm just kind of blending it so I don't have harsh lines. Might not matter, but anyways, that's what I'm doing. And I'm gonna take some dark, and it's tapping, hiding your canvas under, hiding the white of your canvas. Mine just so happens to be dark gray, but I still want to hide it. Always dipping in my green. And I might keep that dark a little bit here in front. We lose a lot of paint here because we're working a little bit on the thick side, a little bit of the black. So really, it's already starting to give us a visual dimensions. Almost forgot what I was gonna say. My brain just went dead. So, and sometimes just your navy green is good enough. See? So we have different colors, different greens. It all ends up being green, and it all marries together because I work with the army green. Okay, I'm gonna add some black in here. And I tap lightly here just to blend it so I don't see a harsh line. My army green. See, I'm almost done with my army green, and I made a big puddle, and it's still almost done. It uses a lot of painting by tapping. And into the army green. And I want to make sure that I get the edges. A little bit of black here. More black. And maybe here a little bit lighter. Okay. Now wash your brush and dry. Okay, so everything's nice and dry, and now we're gonna start doing the autumn colors here. So what I have is a burnt sienna, so it's kind of like a reddish brown, and I have that gold. So these are the two colors, and then we're gonna play with the orange and the red. But first we start with only with the raw sienna and the gold. So I load both. I load both in, and I'm gonna start tapping, and it's gonna kind of be like, ooh, but you'll see. So we go up here, and you're gonna like blend it. You see, I'm going over it, and that it's and I want to keep some dark areas. I don't want it to be all hidden, so I'm reloading again. So sometimes it might be more of the reddish than it is of the gold. And I'm not pressing very hard. It's lightly pressing. And my sponge is dry, because I find it actually doesn't make a big spots when it's dry. So, and we're gonna go over here, And you see how my hand is working all different way area, like I'm turning and load again. When you start getting dry, I'm going to put more red here. So it's already giving us that fall color. And it's only like, we're only in the first coat. Now I'm reloading a little bit more of the gold because I find it too red now. And I'm going up here. It's okay if I keep some of the dark here. It's just telling us there's something behind it. Oh, my canvas is moving. I'm going to hold it because I'm... Okay. Now you don't want it to blend too much. Because if you stay on one spot, that's why I'm moving all over the place. Because if you stay in one spot, it's going to kind of turn like a brownish color. Which is not bad, but you don't want it all to be like that. So more raw sienna, a bit of gold. And this is just our first layer. So, and leave some dark spots. Like the underground here, leave that. It's giving us a shadow. Like a dimension. Not a shadow, a dimension. And some spots are brighter, which is just fine because we're going to go highlight that after. And there's green to add, but I can't put the green on at the same time because it's going to turn muddy. It's going to turn into just brown. This is a bit brighter than I wanted down here. So I'm just here. Maybe a little brighter over here. Raw sienna. It's always raw sienna, your gold. And it depends. If you want more raw sienna, you press more on this side. If you want more gold, you press more on this side. So see, I'm kind of playing around with it. Because this has already started to dry, then I can go back here and highlight some areas. But don't go overboard here because it's not your final look. It's just the first coat kind of thing. Okay, so there's maybe a bit dark here, so I'm gonna okay. Okay, so I'm gonna stop at this point. For myself, I think it's beautiful, so I'm gonna dry. Also, what I did is I washed my sponge and I dried it with the hair blower at the same time I dried the painting. So I'm starting again with a dry sponge. So now I want to show you. Look how very close we are to this. So we just need to put a little red here and there. Put some greens, this light green on. And I'm sponging. And actually, we're here, right? So I'm working kind of like this. So there's reds here, lighter reds here, and it's not it's like almost like a pink, you know, because the leaves are not as bright anymore. It's late October. I'm gonna show you that again closer. See, it's almost like a pink. There's a little bit of red here, so we're gonna go with this kind of pink. Well, reddish pink. So I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna see if putting the white in our raw sienna, what that is gonna do. If that will do what I want it to do. If not, we're gonna mix it with no, don't like it, so you guys don't have to do that. We're gonna take a darker red. Well, it's burgundy wine. It's a red. We'll put a tad, just a little bit of white. It's almost like it's already, you know what, I think I'm gonna go straight into that, but not a lot. Actually, I might put some of my green in it. Oh, it's gonna turn brown. I don't want that. Okay, I'm gonna scrape that off. Okay, I'm tapping it in just to take some of the red out. So I want to go just, sorry if my face is in there. So we're just gonna go and very, very lightly, so that it's not too much. You see, it's there, but it's not in your face. We want to keep it there like that. As we come in front, then we're just gonna add it, and it doesn't have to be everywhere either, because we can't forget about our green that we need to put on. So it's just here and there. See, I'm starting to press a little harder as I'm getting to the front. So you're starting to see it a little bit more. I'm also still not too much paint. I don't want like big blobs. And it won't be like this. I'm just gonna put that aside. It won't be like that. Can't reproduce the same thing twice. Some over here. It's starting to get up. I wasn't pressing at the right spot. Okay, so I'm gonna put it brighter here. So that's just gonna give us some depthness into our painting. So now I'm just going to take another spot on my sponge, and I would like to put a lighter green. So I'm going to go into my army green and that yellow here, and see, I'm making a lighter yellow. And also I'm going to come, I got to be careful that I don't hit the red with that green, because it's gonna turn muddy. Okay, bit more yellow in here, some of that army green, and look how it's turning. It's like a yellowish green, because we're gonna go highlight, you know, this is, and I'm going a little bit here and there also. Make sure that I put some in the back, because there's yellow and there's green in the back. Again, I don't want to hide all the darks. You see now that you can see there's dark, there's green, there's light, and we're going to add a lighter green after. So I'm still playing with around this this color of green. Because there's, you know, there's autumn is not completely, it's here, but there's, you know, the leaves haven't all fallen yet. Okay. So now I'm gonna take more yellow. I might even change. I'm gonna go for a lighter yellow, and it's gonna make a different blend with my army green since this is already in there. So I'm gonna dip into my army green, dip into this yellow and blend it here. And I really want to go lighter, but I'm trying to keep it on the green side. So I'll see if it's not green enough. Then I have a lighter green, like a really flashy green. This is just going to give me another layer. So I'm tapping here and there. And then we're going to start putting brighter colors after. It's okay. It's just give me a base for my green, for my highlight. Okay, so now I will dry this. And actually, I think I'm gonna, so look at the kind of green that I have, kind of a lime green. I'll just put it on the same palette, that dirty palette that I have, dirty sponge of green, because I don't want it like a, so I'm gonna, I dipped into it, and with my rag, I'm gonna take some out, because I really don't want a big spot. So from our picture, there's not too much in the back here. So we're going to start slowly coming down. So maybe like here. And now it's not too bright because there's a darker green under. So it's all about layers. I'm going to go into that lime green again and take some out. And as I get down here, I'll be able to tap it. Harder so that you can see more of the green. So through that, you see the other colors because I'm moving around. I'm not staying in the same spot. So you're a little bit more, again, one more time. Because I want to do all of that before we start putting the trees. I did a mistake with my first painting. I did some of the background, then put my trees up because I was excited. I couldn't wait to do my trees. Then when I tried to put the highlight in here, well, my trees were in the way. So we'll do pretty much, if there's a little highlight that we need to do, it'll be very minor. Because there's a lot of green. But I don't want to put, I don't want to lose all the reds that we've put. Some areas I'm pressing harder. It's just making kind of like a bunch of leaves together. Okay, see, I'm even added some of the dark green because for your light to pop up, you need to have dark under. So now I'm going to take it again and just taking a tad out, and I'm going to start very lightly touching it so that I get highlights here and there. It doesn't have to be on every spot. I'm just trying to put it where on the photo you see it. I'm just gonna hide if I do that. See, when I press hard, sometimes it just makes kind of a bunch of leaves together. Okay. I think I'm going to leave that for now. Some maybe over here. It's very easy to go overboard. So let's stop here. Let's dry and see where we're at. So now we're going to start adding a lighter orange. Actually, I didn't even use my orange because there's already kind of an orange in there. So I'm just use the highlight orange, which is just a lighter orange. And I want to use a light red. So here I have apple red, which is a lighter. I'll show you. So the light orange, the light red, there's a big difference. So again, we're going to go into the light orange. And we're just going to put here and there. It's just going to start bringing our canvas to life when you put highlights. And I'm probably going to put some dark green back on once I've done the highlight to see what it needs to pop. So I'm taking some off. You see, I don't have a lot of it on. In front, it might be more. Okay, I'm going to go into my light red. I'm not washing my sponge, and then I'm going to start coming to put this red on. Like, it's such a beautiful red. Here I'm pressing not as hard. So it's giving me where we've put that other red before. It's just giving me another layer showing the dimension in. So load as you need, but tap into your rag just so you don't have too much when you're working from the back. And in the front, it's okay to tap a little harder. Okay. So I'm going to go put some darker green. I'm going to kind of take the excess off. I'm going to go on another side of my brush. I'm going back into my army green. It's already dark. Take some out. I'm going to go re-add some dark areas here because I find I've lost some. And that's what makes everything pop, is when you get, you know, those dark areas. See the difference, what it does? And in the back, there's less detail in the back. There's a little bit of darkness over here. And as we come to the front, you know, it's brighter in front. Oops. I'm going to go back into my green, my lime green. And I want without losing the dark green that I've just put on. Come and tap here and there. Not in the same, I want to create spots of pop-up green without, doing the whole thing. So tap a little bit. There we go. So, and then I want to soften this up here. Like that. And make it pleasing to your eye. Because we don't see the same thing. And you know what? Your no leaves grow every which way, so try to do that also. Don't tap in the same way, turn around like I'm doing. And here it's not as bright. If we need to put brightness there, we will. But it's mostly from not too much details, and as we're coming forward in the foreground, it's getting more and more details. Okay. I'm gonna brighten up the red a little bit more. Just tapping at the same place. Because I find the red is so beautiful. And the orange too. I'm gonna kind of do the orange. Here it's just a tad here. Just to say that, that color is also there, but it's muted a little bit. Because the sun could be hitting there, so it'll show a little, it'll pop a little bit more. Reloading again. And before I go up there, I'm going to come here, so I'll take the excess of my paint off already. See, here I'm barely touching, and I want it too bright. I want to see some, so if you went too bright, just go over with your finger and just, tap it out. Okay. Now, I'm going to go into my orange. I'll turn my sponge. I have more sponges, but I took only one out. So, do the same with my orange. Brighten it up a tad. So that we see all those fall colors. And I'm going to put some yellow also back on. And here too, there's some there, but, not too much. When we dry, we're going to stand back from your painting and observe it and see, do you need to add something more here? Because sometimes, I'm painting so close that I don't quite see exactly what needs to be done because I'm too close. So now I'm going to go into the gold that we had earlier. And I'm going to put some gold on too to get all those fall colors. A bit more here. Tap a little brighter here. So I'm going to put some back on my palette. I don't need too much. But we need that yellow to, and I'm tapping it in. And it can be around the orange. Be careful not to hide the highlights that you've already done. I want to come here, add some here, very lightly. And play with your sponge while you're sponging. If, well, I thought I had enough, I don't. And sponge in, take off if you have to. I don't want to create the same pattern. And that's okay. I think that looks actually lovely. We'll see when it's time to dry it. When I back off, see what it does. Put a tad in the back here, just a tad. And here it can be a little brighter. Brighter and more kind of like that, identifiable, that its leaves. Okay. Let's not forget the edges, that, you know, there's thing growing more further. It's, I don't want to make an edge either. So, okay, well, I think this looks pretty good. So we're going to dry. Actually, I want to go hit the red spots again, the red leaves. See, make little spots like that. That will make the whole difference. So I'm not tapping. I'm like kind of doing like one dab so that I do get those red spots. I can do one here and just so it makes everything pop. I'm going to do the same thing with my orange, just like I just did here. So there's clusters of leaves. Because I don't want it all dull. It's not visually interesting. And we could play with this like forever. At one point, we're going to have to say, okay, that's enough. And it could be hitting the top here a tad. We'll see when we dry. Okay, we're going to dry and see what we need, what else, if we need anything else. I decided that I'm leaving mine like that till till my trees are done, and then I'll see if I need to pop a little bit of color. I'll take a brush and just touch spots here and there. If I need darker colors, like down here, I'll do the same thing. So we're gonna start with our trees. Yoo-hoo, yoo-hoo, the fun of it. So we're gonna mix your army green, so the black with the yellow. I'm gonna show you, once I mix this, I want to show you something. Because aspen are not white. They look white from far away, but they're not white. So I'm gonna put a tad more yellow because I find I want not just a dark green. Actually, we're gonna play a lot. This is gonna be the color of our trees. The highlight will be with this color, and then we'll slowly put white in to do the highlight, and you'll see it's layers by layers. You might find that it's a lot of layers, but it makes them so much more realistic. Okay, I'm gonna wipe this off. Okay, so what I want to show you is in the photo. If you look closely, I don't know if I'm close enough where there's glare, that it has all these areas that looks gray, and here you see white, you see that kind of greenish color, and it's full of right even here. So I'm going to show you what my trees close up look like. Do you see how much there's a difference just because of the layers? And it's that greenish tone that I've mixed that makes it look realistic. Okay? So I don't start with the background trees. I want to put my big trees up and then go fill in some spots. So I want to start with this tree, then I'm going to go here, that one, and then I'm going to fill the little ones. I just want my placement of my trees first. So I'm taking a flat brush. I didn't mention any brushes before because, you know, it was just a background color. And I'm gonna stay in that dark green to start off with. So I have a big tree. So I'm starting it about here. And here, you can just kind of, you know, make it go. We're gonna do, okay, so I'm gonna put a tad of water in my brush because it's gonna work better if it has water. It's gonna flow better. So what I'm gonna do, it's kind of good that it's not completely more water. Huh. Okay. So this is not the canvas paper I tried before. It's a real canvas. So I'm gonna go up. And here we go. I'm gonna turn it, guys, completely the other way so that I can do that side here. Those trees are very kind of straight. Okay, so that's my first tree. So now I want to do my big trees. I'm going to take some water. I'm going to bring my water basin closer and take some water into my army green. And I'm going to do, and don't do your trees all even. Like this one is lower, this one's a little bit more up, this one is behind that one, this one's in front. So that's what creates visual interest. So let's go put our big tree. I'm gonna do like that, and I'm pressing hard. So I want to make it a little bit crooked. Okay, so now make sure that it's not skinny big. A tree is big all the way going small. So big going small. Same thing up there. So I'm going to flip it again so that I can do the other side. There's a lot of, I don't want it to leak down. Be careful not to put my hand in there. And it's okay if we see through because we're going to put so much layers in there. And this here, we're gonna go put some grass and leaves and little bushes in front of the trees. So flipping it again. Oh. Now my other tree will start behind, right there. So I'm put a tad of water in here. And as you see, I could go a little bit wider with this tree. I'm gonna go wider because my canvas is a little bit bigger, so I can afford to go bigger. And here it's bigger. And it's okay if it's not straight, that there's little wobbles in here. It makes your tree more realistic. Okay, so our other tree. I'll put it here, and it's gonna go up. And I'm gonna make a bigger tree. And go up like that. And I'm gonna make another tree here. And this one I'm gonna bring, like it's a little bit forward like that. I'm gonna make it bigger also. I'm just kind of putting my finger there so that it's not that dark. Here too, just be easier to hide when we put the little bushes in front. So I want to make it even bigger. Like that. Like that. Then I'm gonna flip it. Gotta be really careful if you do like I'm doing, flipping your canvas, so that I don't go put my hands there and smear everything. So I'm just gonna work from, see, my tree just grew bigger. And then I'm gonna see if I have the right proportion, that if I need to make this a little thicker or not once I flip it. Because these trees, yeah, it's gonna need to go. Is my head? No. Okay. Those trees grow so tall and straight up. Like sometimes they have the same thickness all the way up. And that's exactly what I'm gonna do with these trees. I'm gonna thicken it. So I'm gonna make them wider all the way. Yeah, I like that better. I'm gonna do that the same, but I'll do it on that side. Give me space here to put trees if I want to. See how much better it is that it's a bit thicker? So actually, this needs to be a little thicker. Just a tiny bit. Okay, oh, I really like this one here. Now I'm thinking, I think I'm gonna go back like this and thicken it from the inside here. Maybe make it less crooked. And then we'll see if we need to play with the base. Yeah, that's much, much better. Yeah, I like that. And even I could go a tiny, tiny, tiny. See how much better that is? And it didn't take much. I just readjusted the thickness here and the base a little bit wide, but it's not going very skinny up there. That's not how those trees grow. So now I'm gonna go add this tree and that tree before I get here, so I don't smear my paint all over. So this one here, I'm gonna kind of start it right here. And you know what? I think I'm not gonna go touch that because I'll make it bigger when we put our highlights in that. I'll be able to go in and it'll hide the background. So now I'm going to put another tree, but I won't put even like that. Either I put it higher or I put it lower. And I think I'm just going to go right here. And this one could be a tad bigger. Not too much, but whatever, you know, pleases you. It's about what you see. Okay, this here. You might see that this is not flat, but that's okay, because we're gonna go highlight the bottom. It's just, see, it's already, because I did that, it's already created kind of a shadow under the tree for us to be able to put the highlights in that. So now I'm gonna go do my other tree here. I'm gonna take a little bit water. Then I'm gonna dry before I get to the trees in the back. So I'm gonna go down a little bit, and I'm gonna go up. You know, if you want to make bigger trees, all you have to do is take a bigger brush. But sometimes you just don't want that big of a tree. So if your brush is too big, then you can't control it. I prefer having a smaller brush and be able to control the width on my tree. I see I have a drop here. Okay, so now I'm gonna go on this side and I'm gonna check for the width. Whoa. Be careful not to go overboard here. And make your edges crisp. Not straight, but crisp. Well, you know what? It's not bad at all. Just here, it might be a little too skinny. Go on the flat side like that. Okay, just like that. Perfect. So now, perfect without being perfect. So now we're gonna put some trees here in the back. Same mix and everything. It's all gonna be in the details. What's in the background barely has any details. Foreground a little bit, and right in front a lot. Okay, so let's go fill. You might not have the same thing as I do, so I'm gonna go put a tree here, like it's in the background, and it's gonna be a smaller tree. So you know what, I'm gonna change brushes. I'm gonna take a smaller flat just so that I can create smaller trees, have more control. So put water in. Okay, this one's gonna not end up the way I want it. It's a bit big for my taste. So you know what? I'm gonna bring it down because it ended up being a big tree after all. So it wants to be a big tree. It's gonna be a big tree. It can be a big tree without much details. We'll see. We'll see what needs to be done to it. I'll flip it. And what I could have also done is go back into my white mixture and shrink it. And take a little bit of water. So what I did is like we did when we did the background, army green, and just added some white. It might be too white. what I'm doing is just, it's just going to create like there's trees there. We're not done anyways. There's still trees that I'm... Okay, so I'm going to go here. But I think this is dry now. No? I'm just going to wipe a little bit of it. Because I really didn't want a big tree like that there. So I'm kind of changing my mind. So I'm just gonna make it skinnier. Skinnier here. So this is how you do a correction if you're not satisfied with that. So what I'm going to do now is just going to go back into my darker green. And I'll try not to shake. Maybe I should have dried it. That's why I don't want to put my hand there. So if you don't mind, guys, I'm going to go upside down. And I'm just going to go. I'm going to just barely touch my canvas. And I want to try to keep it a crisp edge. Okay. You see how fuzzy that came? I'm going to fix that right now before I put highlights in it. I'm going to take my raw sienna, my gold, raw sienna, my gold, not with a sponge. I just want to go tap a little bit. And I'm going to add some of the yellow, just a tiny bit. That's okay if I go over the tree because nothing done on the tree yet. There's extra paint on my brush. I'm going into the red, adding a little bit of red there. Up here, just making that tree skinnier. Okay, so now I'm gonna go into my green again. I'm just gonna go do some touch-ups here. So by doing that, I'm pushing this behind the tree. I think it still wants to be big. Oh, I can feel the wet paint under my hand. Okay, I'm gonna leave that. So now I want to feel some of the areas, okay? And I don't think I have the right brush. I think that's too small, that's too big. I think what I need to work is a flat brush, but this way instead. So I'm gonna wet it. Take some paint, maybe not as much paint. It's kind of hard to work when I can't put my hand on there. So I'm going to bring this one a little bit in the back and just barely touching. Same thing here. We're filling some spots. And we don't want it all the same place. They can be crooked. And a little one here. Another one here. You know, they don't have to be all dark and detailed. Because some are really in the background. So it's already giving a dimension to, you can see the background, the foreground. I might even bring this up, bring it down a little bit. Okay, so, and I'm going to bring some down a little bit. Okay, because you know they're not all in the background, and we don't have to fill the whole thing. Gonna have that one a bit bigger. Okay. A little one in the back, very light, very, very light. And I'll put one over here. I don't want to go too crazy with the trees because that means it's a lot more details that we need to do if we put them in the foreground. Okay, so I'm going to flip this so that I can just go adjust that. Okay, a little bit wider. Okay. Let's look at it and see. Okay, you know what? I think I'm just going to do kind of a shadow one right here. I don't know if you're going to see this or not, but I really, really, really light. I don't really want to do a detailed tree here. Like that. Okay, so we're going to dry and start detailing. Look how amazing that looks. But I'm going to bring this tree down a little bit just because I find it would be more pleasing to my eye that it's not the same as that tree, very close to that one. So I'm going to bring it down a little bit. And just like that. See, it already makes a difference. And actually, I think a little bit more down. It's very close to that. You know, I don't want it to be too close. I don't want it to be down like that. Okay. Okay, so now we're still playing in the same range of colors. It's this army green with white. And we don't want really, really white. Maybe sometimes you won't even see what you've done but there's a layer. It's all about layers from here on with our trees. And I will be taking the canvas in my hands so that I can show you and I can have control, because if it's there on the canvas, well, actually, you know what? I can maybe do that. It won't be the same. So what we do, this is a little bit further out. So I will start with this highlight, and I'm going down and up, down and up. I'm trying not to get to the other side if possible. And I have a scruffy brush here because that scruffy brush is amazing because it's scruffy. So we do one side of the tree, and then we're gonna go, see at the end there, I don't worry. And I'm starting down here, and I'm going like in the like that, a scoop. And I'm trying not, and you know, you don't want it all the same. So I'm creating little spaces here. And we'll just keep going like that till we do the whole tree. And you see how it grayed down? That's what's fun, because that's just our first layer. And as we go up, I'm going to go faster. Here we go. Okay, so again, in my army green, some white, not too white. Whoops. Okay, a little bit more white. So it's kind of almost like a grayish color. And well, that's our first coat. And scoop, scoop, scoop. And suppose that I find my tree's too skinny. Well, I'm just going to go outside of where it was and just make it bigger. Here. See, I'm not touching the little trees yet, because the little trees, what I'm going to do is just a tiny detail, just a tiny, like a splash here and there, you know, like not with this brush because it's kind of too big. Well, it's working. So, because we don't want much detail, we want to know that it's tree. The other one are too skinny. So I think what I'm going to do is actually put a more yellow in here. Yeah, I'm going to switch. So we're going to do the army green with some yellow instead of some white. I'm going to leave those like that. So scoop. Yeah, okay, I like that better. Gives me the tone that I want. And you're going to see your painting is all going to get married together because the background is the same color as this. So it's all going to blend together. It's okay if it's not icy spots, because this is just our first layer. See, and I'm even, sometimes there's space in between, that's okay. So back into my army green with the gold, the yellow, making enough to help me do the whole tree. And I think I'm just going to come here and retouch it very fast so that I have that same color inside. And it's okay if I don't completely hide it. It's just going to give me an extra layer. So I'm doing it fast, and it doesn't have to start on the side. And this here also. Okay. Oh yeah, that's much better. I did it the other day, and no, I just forgot what I had done. I wrote some notes, but just didn't read them. Okay, so our next tree. I find this probably the most fun part. Is start to do the trees here like that. And this creates shadows. It creates, you know, spots. Like it's gonna look like my tree. It's gonna look, you're gonna have, that's how I created those areas that are different colors. That's how I did them with this. So again, into my green. Sometimes I go to the edge, sometimes I don't. And I definitely do not go here. We're going to do that after. And when you scoop, it gives the appearance that your tree is round and not flat. So that's why we scoop. I call it a scoop. I don't know how to call it. See, it goes fast. You don't stop to think. Okay, this should, you know, should be like this. Should be like this. It's I found a way that was simple to do for you to be able to do these trees. So here we go. More as we go. We're gonna lighten up the green and lighten up the green until then it's time to put the white. But for now, we're not there yet. Sometimes I'm touching hard, sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'm starting at the edge, and other times I'm not. And if you work, not your hand on your canvas, it's better, like I'm working right now, because there's you'll have less control and it's gonna look better. Because if you sit here and you're like that and do every little stroke, it's not gonna look like this. You're gonna miss out. It's your trees. You're gonna wonder what's wrong with my tree. It's because you tried to do fine details. I know, because that's how I am. You know, when I do one of my paintings for myself, sometimes I do too much detail. Okay, so we're gonna go here and just do a little touch here and there. I'm gonna change brushes because my scruffy brush is just too scruffy. So same mix again, because we're not gonna go as light. You know, when it's time to highlight, these trees won't have as much light, but they're in, even though they're in the background, you know, I'm just kind of going over. I'm not doing the same thing. I'm not trying to do details like I did on the other trees. So it's just highlight. I want it to stay in the back. I might later go do a little scoop. Maybe these front here, because they're in front. I kind of decided that I was going to do a scoop. Okay, so that's step one. So now we're just going to take my scruffy brush again, because I really like it. And we're going to flip. And we're going to go a tad lighter than what we had. So I'm going to reload the gold. put some more on my palette because I want one side different than the other side. So we're going to flip it. Now, just make sure you scoop the same way, okay? Because it's very easy to not scoop. I did that on my other painting. I was scooping the wrong way. So a tad lighter than we had, just to start creating a difference between one